Yesterday, a new video was released showing Nick Reiner calmly walking near his parents' home just hours before the killings occurred. The footage was obtained by the New York Post. Let's take a look. This is the first video. It shows nothing more than a sidewalk. You can see him walking. For those listening on the radio, imagine Nick with a bag slung over his left shoulder, walking at an unhurried pace, showing no visible signs of panic. It has now been 5 days since the devastating tragedy at the Brentwood home of Rob Reiner and his wife Michelle, 2 lives taken in an act of violence that has shaken Hollywood. New details are slowly emerging, and with each discovery, the story becomes even more disturbing. A preliminary forensic report indicates the precise window in which Nick Reiner may have carried out the attack, describing multiple severe injuries, including a deep slash across Rob Reiner's neck that investigators believe carried a chilling message. Silence. Don't say anything more. Each new piece of evidence peels back another dark layer of pain and chaos. Authorities believe the tragedy may have been triggered by a tense confrontation at Conan O'Brien's Christmas party, where multiple witnesses reportedly observed Nick behaving erratically and appearing unstable. What began as an argument is believed to have escalated into something no one could have imagined. Afterward, Nick is alleged to have left the scene with an unsettling calm, checked into a nearby hotel, and then used family inheritance money to hire Alan Jackson, one of the most powerful defense attorneys in the United States, to represent him. The move stunned the public. How could someone who had just caused such devastation act with such cold calculation? Investigators are now reconstructing the timeline of that night, beginning with the tense dinner believed to have set everything in motion. According to the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office, the attack occurred sometime between midnight and early morning, one of the most haunting nights in recent memory. Between midnight and 6 a.m., Nick is believed to have quietly left his room and entered the main house, where his parents were sleeping in the master bedroom. There were no signs of forced entry. He had a key and knew every corner of the house intimately. What happened next is the most horrifying part of the case. After the violent act, Nick did not appear panicked or deranged. He appeared relatively normal. Video footage shows him passing by a gas station, wearing a hat and carrying a bag. At that time, according to allegations, he had not yet been apprehended. Nick is believed to have left the house almost immediately, carrying either a private panic or a chilling calm only he could understand. Around 4 a.m., security records show him arriving at the Pierside Hotel in Santa Monica, about a 20-minute drive from Brentwood. He checked into a small room, quietly paying in cash or by card, attracting almost no attention. During those hours, no one saw him making phone calls or sleeping, as if he were drifting in a detached, dreamlike state, completely separated from the tragedy he had left behind. At approximately 3:40 p.m. that same day, the horrific discovery was made. A massage therapist arrived for a scheduled appointment with Rob and Michelle, but no one answered the door. Concerned, she called Roy, who arrived with his partner. The moment the door was opened, their world collapsed. Rob was found motionless in the master bedroom. 911 was immediately called. Police quickly arrived and discovered Michelle nearby, confirming the worst. While the crime scene was being processed, Nick continued moving through the city. An ABC News video captured him purchasing a sports drink at a gas station shortly before his arrest. He had a bag over his left shoulder, walking around the convenience store, appearing neither out of control nor visibly agitated. Around 9 p.m., surveillance cameras at an Arco gas station near Exposition Park recorded Nick buying water, repeatedly scanning his surroundings, nervous, yet composed enough to complete the transaction. Just minutes later, around 9:15 p.m., LAPD officers, working with U.S. Marshals, surrounded and arrested him. Nick did not resist and remained silent as he was handcuffed. Images show a young man with empty, exhausted eyes, as though all emotion had been drained from him. Forensic teams determined that Rob and Michelle likely died 3 to 4 hours before they were discovered, based on initial indicators. This timeline only deepens the tragedy and raises more questions about what truly pushed Nick to his breaking point. Investigators believe Nick may have attempted to shower or clean himself after leaving the scene, though traces could still remain on his clothing or body. Surveillance cameras tracked his movements throughout Santa Monica that morning. Experts believe the weapon may have been a kitchen knife or cleaver, an everyday object, easily accessible in the home. Because of his familiarity with the house's layout, Nick may have moved with cold precision, turning a once warm home into a scene of devastation. Another video shows the moment Nick surrendered on a Los Angeles street as police closed in. According to authorities, he voluntarily went into custody without resistance. Subsequent forensic reports confirmed that both Rob and Michelle suffered multiple severe wounds, contradicting early reports suggesting a single stab. The reality revealed the extreme level of violence involved. Professor Joseph Scott Morgan, a leading forensic expert, explained that multiple stab wounds indicate clear intent and the use of significant force. This is close-contact violence, requiring invasion of personal space and considerable physical effort. The repetition of wounds suggests this was not a fleeting loss of control, but a prolonged, deliberate act. When deep stab wounds and long slashing injuries appear together, it indicates a violent struggle combining rage with chilling precision. This was not an accident. Experts also emphasize that neck wounds are rarely quick and clean, as portrayed in films. In reality, they require control, strength, and direct contact, making the act especially horrifying. These new findings further darken the final moments of Rob and Michelle Reiner, sending shockwaves through their family and the public. Public outrage has intensified over allegations that Nick used his parents' own inheritance money to pay for his defense team, a shocking paradox. Alan Jackson, his attorney, is among the most expensive legal minds in the country, with defense costs potentially reaching tens of millions of dollars. According to sources close to the family, the legal fees are currently being paid from the estate of Rob and Michelle Reiner, estimated at around $200 million, a decision reportedly supported by surviving family members such as Jake and Roy Reiner, in the hope that Nick will receive psychiatric treatment rather than a life sentence. Under California law, a perpetrator cannot inherit from their victims, but the law does not prohibit the use of family assets to pay legal fees prior to a final verdict, an issue that has sparked intense controversy. At his first court appearance, Nick Reiner faced 2 counts of first-degree murder. He wore a blue jail uniform, standing silently beside Alan Jackson. There were no live cameras. Jackson requested a delay in entering a plea, and the judge agreed, scheduling the next hearing for January 7th. When asked whether he waived his right to a speedy trial, Nick responded briefly, almost without emotion. "Yes, Your Honor." No explanation. No visible reaction. Just a quiet acknowledgement. And this is only the beginning of a case expected to become one of the most closely watched trials in the United States.